Good morning, Millennial Morticians. Happy Wednesday morning. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of this incredible podcast. It's so good to be back with you. Today's episode is something very interesting, something different, and really something truly dynamic. And I hope it inspires you and encourages you as we continue through this amazing week. Although it is a little bit rainy in Virginia, I might add. The title of today's episode is called Tinsel Strength. Tinsel Strength. I got the title for today's episode because I have just been extremely busy lately, and I feel like things just keep coming and happening, and work is, working, and you guys know how that is in the funeral home. You just never know what to expect on what day. And I got that term because my dad is in the construction industry, and I was just, on the internet surfing around and saw, a documentary about concrete and how it works and what it does. And I heard that if you put concrete under pressure, just concrete by itself, and you drive over it, when you get into the middle of the concrete, there's nothing that can hold it up from the inside. It doesn't do well under pressure. It doesn't do well under a lot of pressure by itself. And I just found that fascinating. I was like, okay. So I said, so what do you do when you drive over it? People's cars drive over it every day. People use it every day. It is a resource. And if it's, under all that pressure, all that weight, it can just crack and topple. I said, so what do you guys do? They add stainless steel bars in concrete, and then they begin to pour it on top. That way, the concrete has greater tensile strength. That word is going to be so important today and this week because you need tensile strength. That's what I'm going to give you today, and that's what's going to get you through this week. I asked myself the question, why we allow ourselves to be under so much pressure without distributing it evenly in our lives. And I want you guys to really think about this, even in your own personal life. What is it that's causing you pressure, that's causing you stress, that's causing you heartache and pain that can't be managed? Because it can be. And there's things and there's resources out there and there's people out there that can help you manage stress. We are the number one industry. You have to remember this. For stress, burnout, fatigue, tiredness, we're the number one. And I want you guys to have a lifelong career in this. I want you guys to be invested in this. Put your time in it, your mind in it, your heart in it. And if you don't have that tensile strength within you, you're going to crumble under the pressure and under the stress of the work environment that you are in. The time it takes you to do tasks, to move around, to talk to families, to go to the cemetery, it is a lot of pressure. You are essentially the middle person. You are the middle ground. You have the knowledge. You have the licensure. You have the credibility in the industry. You know what you're talking about. And people count on us each and every day to be able to deliver what I've noticed, the same service. Might not be the same thing that they want, but they want the same care. And so we have to be consistent in our care. But we also have to be consistent in a way where we can stay ahead of our competition. Because like any other business, we all have competition. And so we have to keep our standards high, but keep them consistent, because there's so many other options out there for people to use. And those options are growing for funeral homes for people to choose from. And so you really have to ask yourself, so what makes you different? Well, the difference is I can manage my personal life. I can manage my stress. I can manage this job. I can manage so many other things at the same time. And you have to be an amazing multitasker. When I was younger, in my younger years, they had diagnosed me with ADHD and, told me, hey, you're not going to graduate high school. You're not going to graduate middle school. You can't do this. You can't do that. And I proved them wrong. I proved them wrong because I had tensile strength on the inside and said, look, I know you guys are saying this, but you can't break my spirit. You can't break what's inside of me. You can't break that. And I made myself stronger. And so I'm telling you to go out there and make yourself stronger. Whatever it is that you feel like gives you strength, gives you happiness, gives you peace, you go out there and you find it and you master it. And you don't just take notes. I find that we live in a world and a generation where we're quick to take notes, but we're not quick to go back and reflect on those same notes and really learn and really delve into what we've realized and what we come to find out. So be real with yourself and really dig deep and the meaning of life and why we do what we do. And let me tell you, don't let anybody fool you into thinking that stress management is good just for this industry. To be honest with you, you need to be stress free even in your personal life. There should be nothing that's stressing you, that's taxing you down, that's making you tired and fatigued. When you're tired and fatigued, right? And you're coming in the funeral home and you're trying to work, you can't accurately serve people the very best of your abilities when you have so much going on around you. You have to have flexibility. You have to be able to just sit down and take a breather and relax and give yourself a chance to clear your mind and your heart. I try to pray before I go into my funeral home and just say, give me a clear heart, give me a clear mind. Because I can't bring in the outside problems out there, the problems I'm facing out in the world that aren't really big problems, um, into the funeral home and with my families, because they're going through something 10 times as bad. And I have to be able to have a clear mind and have a clear head when to help to rightfully guide the family into the next chapter of their life. And let me tell you something. There's nothing as a funeral director, as a mortician, as a funeral home owner that you can't do. Because this job naturally occurs pressure. It naturally occurs stress. It naturally incurs intensity in the workplace. And so it's bound to happen. But the management of it, how you manage it, how the mental tax it has on you. There's some days I go home and I'm just mentally tired. This is one of the only jobs where all forms of tiredness can take over your body. You can be physically tired, you can be mentally tired, you can be emotionally tired. And although that might not equal tears for us in our case, because we're trained in this, it just is taxing. This is meticulous work. It takes special hands to do this. And I don't think that the industry has really encouraged, and I want to encourage you guys, encourage working in this environment. Getting your water bottle, getting your Gatorade, eating. There's so many funeral directors and morticians out there. I'll call them, I'll talk to them, some of my classmates. I'm like, hey guys, did you eat today? Did you have lunch? Did you? And I'm like, have lunch? We don't have time. And it's true, I understand we don't really have time, but it's like, it's still that self-care. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, then you can't take care of somebody else's family in their time of need. And so it's all about being open minded. It's all about transparency. It's all about healing and growth. And you can get that even at a funeral home within your inner self. You can get that there, because it's a place where I'm so comfortable. It's an amazing experience where you can say you work at a funeral home that feels like home. And the family aspect, you get there, the dynamic of working with everybody, the mentality, everyone has the same goal in mind. That's to serve people, to make people happy, to bring life into people's lives that need it. There's so much need out there. And I want you guys, I want my audience, I want you guys to be engineered to meet the needs of any and everybody that walks through those doors. I want you to have the knowledge of the products they need. I want you to have the knowledge of the religious backgrounds they have, the services they entail, how fast the turnover time is. You guys have to be prepared for absolutely anything these days. And the world is watching us. People are counting on us. They're demanding that we cultivate something new and something different out of funeral services that they once known. They don't want you to just sell them a casket. They don't want you to just give them a DVD. They want you to dig deep. They want you to call and they want you to call them after the service. They want you to text them, send them a letter. They want maybe just some nice flowers sent to their house, just as a nice thoughtful measure to say, we love you. Thank you for allowing us to serve you another day. Thank you for entrusting us with your loved one, even though it might have been 3 or 4 months ago. It's going back. It's going back. And people love when you remember them for more than just the price they paid for a service. You remember the details about the service. And you go over all that in the arrangement conference. You can just say, okay, they like that. Just write something down sweet that they really like, that they really admire. And you use that thing. And you say, hey, I'm going to serve you. And you call them and you say, hey, I remember that you like this and this. And that person says, wow, you remember that? It's because this job is so much deeper. It's intertwined. And guys, remember this. The funeral may be over, but the pain goes on. It goes on even after the service. And as funeral directors, as morticians, we're working on so many different things, so many different families, we forget that. But the pain's still there after we're done, after the body's in the ground, the vault's closed. And so this week, we're going to have tensile strength. So no matter what pressure we're under, we're going to be just fine. Nothing's going to crack us. Nothing's going to break us this week. We're going to stay encouraged. We're going to stay sharp-minded. We're going to stay focused. Well, guys, I'm your Millennial Mortician, Jaden Folks. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of this amazing podcast. Use your Tinsel Strength this week. Strengthen yourself, strengthen your staff, and be stronger. Remember, this is the podcast that engraves. You guys have a blessed week. It's so great seeing you guys, and I look forward